This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, Rabbi Sai, good Erev Shabbos, as we prepare for Parshas Noach. Earlier this week on Wednesday, we spoke about some of the scientific ramifications of the Mabul in terms of fossils that have been discovered, which scientists maintain prove that the world existed for a very long time, which we explained that the fossil record was completely discombobulated, right, through the Mabul, and therefore is not really indicative of the age of the universe. Interesting. We spoke about a number of the scientific ramifications of the Mabul in terms of the incline of the angle of the world and other various interesting aspects. Today, we're going to speak about evolution, but it's an evolution that the Torah does believe in, but it's not an evolution that you ever heard of before. Okay, and we're going to talk about apes, monkeys, and gorillas, but this is material not what you think. Okay, says the Rambam in Hilchos Brachos Parag Vav Halacha Yud Gimel Yudalid, Hakol Kesherin Litain Liyadayim. Everybody is kosher to pour water on hands. In other words, we know in the Netilas Yadayim you can't just have water by itself come onto your hands. You need kayach, and anybody could provide that. Be it a cheresh, be it a shaita, be it a katan. You don't need das, you just need kayach. Imein sham acher, if there's no one else there, maniach hakli bein berkav, you could put the vessel between your knees, v'tzak al yadav, and pour on your hands. Ayata achavas al yadav, or tilt the barrel on your hands. V'yital, ay noitel yaday achas, v'tzak v'zu al zu. In other words, either position the kli between your knees, or lean the barrel on its side, or wash one hand at a time. Says the Rambam, what about a monkey? You could even have a monkey wash your hands. Now the question is, why did the Rambam pick a monkey? Why a monkey? Why would the Rambam specifically talk about a monkey? Why couldn't he tell? Why not a dog? Why not a cat?
Not the dexterity to pour water. A monkey has hands; he can pour water.
So let the Rambam say, "Behema noitel yadayim." Why would he give an example? So you say that's the practical case, because practically speaking, most animals don't have hands like human beings. So that's. But the question is, the Rambam is a Pella. As Shakespeare once said, whenever there's a Rambam, the Ravid is not far behind. Right? So comes the Ravid, and the Ravid is masig on the Rambam. What are you talking about? You could have a monkey wash your hands. It's halacha in the Gemara, you need kayach gavra. You need the force of a man.
Monkey's a gavra.
I don't know what gavra is. I don't know what your definition of gavra is. But kasav haravid v'haloy amrinon v'gemara dechulen. We say in the Gemara in Chulen, teve'inon denisu mikach gavra. It has to come from the force of a man, right? And the Rambam himself, by the way, look in the Rambam in Brachos Parag Vav Halacha Yudalid. Hashoykes shadola adam b'yadoy begalgal. In other words, if you have, let's say, a mill, so then v'hamayim nimshach mimena ba'ama v'hochen mashkin hayrog z'bahim z'niach yadav b'shoykes v'avra hamayim b'shad yadav. It doesn't work. She'ein kan noisin al yadav. If it's a mill that's being pushed by a river, it doesn't work. You need v'im hayu yadav kroivos ad shenimtza hamayim shidfa al yadav mikayach nesinas ha'adam. That has to come from the force of a man, also like Natila. So the Rambam himself seems to say that you need Kayach Gavra. Who Atzmai, the Ravid says, Kasav Ken Lamata. That Afa Pishuhu, Shanoi Kem Musachas Yadayim Latana Kama, Bale Hagamar Lo Yiskimu Kain. So the, and even though, in other words, even though there's an opinion in the Gemara, you could have a monkey, the Gemara doesn't conclude that. Umehechi teisi, says Rav, Sha'akoif yalav teras adam. How does the Rambam know that a koif would have a din of an adam? V'cheresh v'shayt v'katan yesh lehem ma'isa. We know a cheresh v'shayt v'katan, they're an adam. They don't have das. So it's kayach gavra. They're a gavra without das. But a monkey is not a gavra. Aval a koif v'loy klumu. Now, Lamaisa, the Beis Yosef happens to comment on this Rambam that it could be, when the Rambam says you could use a monkey, it's lav dafka monkey, you could use any behema. The Beis Yosef says, ve'efshar de koif lav dafka, el hu adin l'chol ba'achai, ella de orcha de milsa nagad. He just happened to pick a usual case. And then the Beis Yosef says, you know what? I'm really not sure about that. Maybe the Rambam dafka means a monkey. Maybe only a monkey could do Netilas Yadayim for you, but not a dog. And mamish, it's a pella. In other words, so he's in other words, the Beis Yosef has possibility that a dog cannot pour Netilas Yadayim on your hands, and a rabbit cannot, and a cow can't, and a seal, you could train a seal to wash Netilas Yadayim. They've done it. Yeah. Would you be shocked if you went to the aquarium and there was a seal and they call up a Hasidic guy and the seal washes Netilas Yadayim on him? I wouldn't be shocked. Right? So why? No, the Beis Yosef says only monkeys could do Netilas Yadayim, not seals. Why? Why would a monkey be any different than a seal? Oh, so I know what you're thinking. Because it seems that, at least in some respect, there is a credibility that we give to monkeys that they're a gavra. Why would that be? We don't believe in evolution. You know the famous joke: the four greatest thinkers of the last 200 years, Einstein and who was the psychiatrist? Freud and Marx and Darwin. They say three were Jewish and Darwin was wrong, right? But Freud was also wrong. But that's a separate story. But the Beis Yosef has a possibility. The Beis Yosef has a possibility that only a monkey could wash Netilas Yadayim. In fact, if you looked in the Migdal Oiz on the Rambam, the Migdal Oiz brings down a number of sources in Shas that a monkey is considered a bardas on some level. Look at number 4. I'll just read a little bit. Bani oimer emesu kidin hakoif shanoi soif parakam of the Mesachas Yadayim. The din of the koif is learned at the end of the first parak of Mesachas Yadayim. V'chein shaninu mat achavas al tzido v'noitov hakoif noisen Yadayim Rabbi Yossi poisto b'shnayim elu. And the Rambam is passing like the Tanakama Rabbi Yossi. So in other words, the Rambam's paskening the Rambam's paskening like the Tanakama of Rabbi Yossi. Why? And the Rambam says the time of Mishum the Stam the Talmud the Kvaser Perek Sheni Dezvachim Mishmaitim, and there are a number of Gemaras in Shas. The Migdal Oiz proves from. If you look 5 lines from the end of the first column, Adarabba, Ibcha Mistabra. The Ravid says Maisa Koif is nothing. Ibcha Mistabra. Da'anan Ha'adadi Shu Medama Koma Shuraya. Because Da'anan Sadi, we're all witnesses that a monkey could mimic whatever he sees. In other words, it's not even true that the Ravid asked that a koif is worse than a shecher shoyt v'katan. Really now? You tell a shoyta, go like this. The shoyta looks at you like, what are you talking about? You tell a monkey, go like that. The monkey will do it better than you did. So if anything, says Migdal Oiz, a monkey has more das than even checher shoyt v'katan. So if checher shoyt v'katan could wash Netilas Yadayim, says the Migdal Oiz, and he brings many rayas from Shas, that a koif actually is smarter than a lot of people. Oh, no.
That's Russian.
Rabbi say another halacha. The Gemara in Bracha is Daf Nunche. This is wild, by the way. The Gemara in Bracha is Daf Nunche Samabeis says that if you see an elephant or you see a monkey, elephant.
It's okay.
Just checking if you're there. Yeah.
Yes.
It's Friday. If you see an animal like a elephant or a monkey or a kapayf. We'll have to see. Oimer Baruch Meshanes Habriyos. You make Meshanes Habriyos. And by the way, we paskin that way. So it's halach in Shulchan Aruch and Archanis and Reish Chafei. Haraya Kushi, if you see an Ethiopian, V'gichar, Dahainu Shu Adaim Harbe, someone who's very red, V'halavakan, Dahainu Shu Lavan Harbe, someone who's white, V'hakipach, Dahainu Shabitnai Gadol, someone with a very large stomach, Umitoich Avyo Niris Kaimas and Mikupachas, basically they look like a square, V'hananas, or a midget, V'hadrar Koina, Dahainu Mishu Malayabelas, someone full of boils, Upetuye Haroish, that all of his hears. Or if you see hapil, an elephant, v'yasakef, or a monkey, mavarech baruch ata Hashem lakin machelam meshana habriyos. It's halacha. If you see an elephant or you see a monkey, you make the bracha meshana habriyos. As for Yaakov Kamenetsky in his footnotes on Shulchan Aruch, if you go to the zoo, is the elephant and the monkey really the strangest animals you'll see?
No.
What about a camel? A camel is normal. It's normal for things to have big humps on their back. That's a normal thing. Why would an elephant or a monkey be any different than a camel? Now, if you go to the zoo today, there are very strange creatures, much more strange than elephants and monkeys. What about an octopus? That's normal? That's like a good-looking creature? Why exactly do we say that the elephant and the monkey are the minim that you make meshana habriyos? Look at number 7. Aval beikar halacha da roya pil v'koif v'kipov shaimer baruch meshana habriyos l'chayra ein lahavin kapshutai. You can't say the reason you make the bracha meshana habriyos is mishum shein briyos meshunos. Deman ishtana pil nigamal. Why would a elephant be different than a camel? Mishum meshuna b'chatoy ta'rosai v'aloi kol beria b'tavnisa b'tara nivnus. Every animal is built in its image. What do you mean strange? Mashach shinoi bazeh. This is how God made it. So far 2 questions. Question number 1 is, why could a monkey do Natil Sidayim for you? Number 2, why would you make a Meshana Habriyos on a monkey and an elephant? Number 3, it's a Mishnah on Klayim. Rabbi say good stuff here. Shar bar, a wild ox, men behema is a type of behema, and therefore it could plow with another shar, domesticated shar. It's not Klayim. Rabbi Yosef min chaya, Kelev min chaya, Rameir oimer min behema. What's the nafkamina, Rabbi say? Klayim, with plowing, right? Because it says loisasam b'shar v'chamar yachtav. Chazir min behema, aroid. In other words, to crossbreed, min chaya. Hapil, an elephant, v'hakoif, and a monkey, min chaya. V'adam mutarim kulam limshoich v'lachroi shalahanig. And a person could plow with all of them and could lead with all of them. Why? Because a man is not a dog, and a man is not a behema, and he's not a chazir, and he's not an elephant, and he's not a monkey. Because a man is just so different than them, there's no klayim with a man and them. It's just one simple question. What was the Havamina? You would have thought that a man is a pig, or is a monkey, or is an elephant, and therefore it would be a problem maybe of Klayim, and say, no, man is so fundamentally different that it's not Klayim. What exactly is a Havamina? For some people, okay, but in general, the way people are supposed to act, we understand man is a completely different category. The Melech Shloima, Reb Shloima Adini, he says,
could a kushi and a non-kushi plow together?
Of course, yeah.
Because we said, got to make a bracha.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but not on another type of human.
Right. So the Melech Shlomo asks, Koshali Demayas Lashma'inan. What's the chiddush of the Mishnah that an elephant and a monkey are a type of chaya? What would I think they are? Behema. They ain't domesticated, right? What would I think? Also, I heard from a Chacham, a Chassid, and Mekubal Rabbeinu Meshulam on the Mishnah in Brachos that says if you see an elephant or a monkey, you say Meshana Habriyos. Why are these any stranger than any other creature? So Rabbi Sai, the Meiri on that Mishnah, on the Mishnah of Meshana Habriyos says, the reason why we say Meshana Habriyos on a monkey and an elephant is because they're the most similar to man. And therefore we say Meshana Habriyos, God changed them a little bit. Now this is getting into dangerous territory. What do you mean they're the most similar to man? That sounds very Darwinism.
Excuse me.
Darwinistic. You know that word, Darwinistic?
We just said a kushi, we say Mishana Bruce. You tell me that a monkey is more similar, or a peel is more similar to man than a kushi?
Not more similar, but they're equally similar. Or they're in the same category. In other words, it says Meiri, haroya peel, not an orange peel. If you see a elephant or a monkey, ho v'doimin la'adam b'mixas devarim, since they're similar to man in some ways. You know, some people, they have long noses like an elephant. But what he probably means is in das, in their mind. What?
Elephants have long memories, they don't forget.
They don't forget?
Oh, yeah.
So Rabbi, I hear the Meiri saying that they're the most similar to man. By the way, if you want to know about Kippuf, look in the Emes Yaakov. He has a whole piece on that. It's a very long subject, what the Kippuf is. Okay. So far we have 3 questions. Question number one is, why could a monkey wash your hands until Sidayim? Question number 2 is, why do you make Mishana Abrios on a monkey? Question number 3 is, what's the Chiddush of the Mishnah and Klayim that a monkey and a elephant are a type of Chaya? Moreover, Rabbi, the female gender of man is called a woman. And women have a phenomenon, they have menstrual cycle, which is unique in the world of mammals, because only females of the humans have a menstrual cycle, according to Rabbeinu Bechai. Rabbeinu Bechai says that it's actually a disease and a sickness. The menstrual cycle, he writes, is not a natural phenomenon, and it didn't always exist, but it's a choili. It's interesting. We don't find it in the females of other species. Ella b'min ha'adam bavad. Only a man. Hi ha'isha. Why? Says Rabbi, it's a punishment. The menstrual cycle is a punishment for Chava eating from the Yetz Hadas. V'hayazeh al derech ha'onesh mi pitko shel Chava. From the little message given to Chava, Shnemer lahar ba'arba, I'm going to increase your pain. V'lachin einu b'shar aminin. Because, yes, the behemoths ate from the Yetz Hadas, Chava fed, but they don't have seichel, ein lahem seichel, and therefore they're not punished. Now, Lamaisa, this is a chiddush. Rabbeinu Bechai says only man has a menstrual cycle. But there's one exception. There's a sefer called Maaseh Tovia that I doubt you'll ever come across, by Rav Tuvia Haroife, who was a doctor, and he says he wondered his whole life why the only living creature that has a menstrual cycle like man are monkeys. You never bothered by that? That never kept you up at night? Why monkeys are the only... Me neither. I'm just joking. Tamia Gedoyla. It's a great wonder. V'loy matzasi tshuva maspekas. I never found a sufficient answer. Madua b'chol bali chayv lo nimtza dam nidos. Masha b'loshen chazal vestois. Chazal call it a vest. Zulas be'isha. Only a woman, uv'koif, and a monkey. Those are the only 2 things that have a menstrual cycle. Im hayosh shekol bali chayim mizbarchim ebanim. Yoiser. Truth is, most living creatures have much more children than women and monkeys. Ve'eni yadeh ketzad. I don't understand this. Now, interesting, the Maaseh Tovia points out, most animals drool. What is that? That's their menstrual cycle. Even though it's not blood, but it's that liquid is their dam vest. But says the Maaseh Tovia, I'm not satisfied with that. So here, this is a very unique observation that the menstrual cycle is only by females of humans and monkeys. By the way, so I want to point out that the Chassam Sofer in his Tshuva seems to say that all animals have menstrual cycles, because he talks about, there's a concept in the Gemara, dam ne'akar v'naseh chalav. We know that all mammals, they feed their young milk. Where does that come from? The Chassam Sofer says it's the blood of the menstrual cycle, which is not, there is no cycle when a woman is nursing, that turns into milk, and the Chassam Sofer says it applies by animals. But nevertheless, the opinion of Rabbeinu Bechai is it's only by man, and the Maaseh Tovia observes it by monkeys as well. By the way, Rabbi Isai, let me share something with you, an amazing thing. We find another Gemara in Shas where the acts of a monkey are considered halachically valid. Look in Erevin Laman Alpha and Beis, look at number 13. V'heicha itmar Rav Chizda Rabbi Chial aha itmar. The Tanya nasna lapil. If you gave the eruv to an elephant, v'hoilichai, and he took it, l'koi v'hoilichai ain't the eruv, because we can't be sure the monkey or the elephant ever got to the right destination. But Amar la'achar l'kabel, if you told someone else to be makabel from him, harei za eruv. Says the Gemara, v'dumaloi mamtile, but maybe you never reached him. Amar Rav Chizda ba'omed v'rayeo. If you're standing there and you see it, but v'dumaloi makabele, maybe. In other words, you saw the monkey reach there, but you don't know if the recipient received it. Then it's a good eruv. So Gemara says, maybe the guy didn't receive it. No, chazaka shliach oiser shlichusai.
Wow.
No, not on the monkey. You saw the monkey bring it. Now,
Where's the eruv? How many amos away?
you send the eruv with a monkey or an elephant to somebody who's going to receive it from them. You don't see the recipient, but you see the monkey.
Are we talking about 2,000 amos?
No, you just to send the food. You have to make sure the food got to a home.
Where are you?
You're watching.
Or where are you as related to that home?
You're not in that home. You're sending it to reach that home. Look, the exact details. Look at Rashi. Rashi says, why does the Gemara say an elephant, a monkey or an elephant? Pa'amim she'melumadim. Sometimes they're very learned. Says the Meiri. They say, "V'chein sha'amru b'Talmud Hamarav." There's a tradition in the West. Sha'adam yachal lamdam shivim lashon. You could teach an elephant or a monkey all 70 languages. So here we've just shown 4 unique qualities of the elephant and the monkey. Number 1, they could do netilas yadayim for you. At least the monkey can. Number 2, the Mishnah says in Klayim that they're a chaya. No kidding. What else are they? Number 3, we make meshana habriyos. Number 4, they have the menstrual cycle. And a 5th, you could use them for eruv. So Rabbi say many.
But only monkeys have the menstrual cycle.
Oh, only monkeys, right? Elephants, we do not. We have not proven anything about the gynecological systems of the elephant. Rabbi say this is a Gemara that every Jew needs to be familiar with because this is called Jewish evolution. But everything in Torah is the exact opposite of what people think. So the Gemara says on Daf Kuf Tesam Beis in Sanhedrin, Dar Haflaga. You're wondering what this has to do with Parshas Noach, huh? Well, here we go. Dar Haflaga, the generation of the dispersal, Ein Lohem Chelik Olam Haba. Ma'yovid, what they do? Amri Debei Reb Shila. Nivne Migdal. They said, let's build a tower. V'nala l'rakia. V'naka oisa, we're going to smack Kaviyachal b'kardumais with hatchets kadesh yazuvu meimav, so that the water should flow out. Machku ala b'marava. They laughed at this in the West. Can live nu echad betur. Let some guy build it on a mountain. Amar of Yirmeh b'aralot nechalku legimel kitos. They were divided into 3 camps. Achas oimeres nalav v'neishav. Some one said, let's go up there and live there. V'achas oimeres nalav v'navoid avodas kechavim. V'achas oimeres nalav v'nasim achama. Zu sheoimeres nalav v'neishav sham hefitzam Hashem. The ones that wanted to move upstairs, God scattered them. V'zu she'oimeres nala v'nasa milchama nasu koifim v'ruchais v'shedim v'lilin. They were turned into monkeys and demons and spirits. In other words, yes, we believe in evolution, but not that we came from monkeys. No, monkeys came from us. In other words, when you see monkeys in the zoo, they're just the Dar Haflaga. That's the Dar Haflaga.
So there were no monkeys on the ark then?
Very possibly there were no monkeys on the ark. What are monkeys? Mishane habriyos. Monkeys are people who were changed into monkeys. So it's a new evolution. The new evolution.
You still have to explain.
Now, it's a big chiddush because you could have said there were monkeys before. God just happened to take these guys, these chevra, and also turn them into monkeys. But maybe you could learn the Gemara a little differently, and this is how Rabbi Yaakov learns the Gemara. There were no monkeys. Monkeys were the generation of dispersal, and all the generations of monkeys in the Bronx Zoo, basically you're visiting Nimrod's chevra over there, who built the Tower of Babel. And, on Pesach, when we leave, what's the Indian of going on Pesach? When we leave Mitzrayim, we were the ones who were Masaki in the Dar Haflaga, but these guys, Nebuch, they got left behind. Now they're behind bars over there. Hopefully with Hillary Clinton. And they will also serve avodas koichavim. Now,
why do we say Mishana Brios for the other forms?
So 1 second. So what do we see from here?
That's the last count.
What we see from here is that monkeys are a unique creature. And another question that we should have asked is that of all behemoths and chayos, the creatures that try to mimic man more than any other creatures are the monkey, right? Monkey see, monkey do. Why are they so busy mimicking and trying to be like man? It's because they are in eternal pain that they've been downgraded from Adam to quasi-Adam. So the Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky writes, Mamish Davar Pella. He says, we'll have to see about the peel. Va'ola b'daiti loimar, I thought to say the following. In Chulin, we say that Anshe Dar Haflaga became monkeys. So now we understand why we make Meshana HaBriyos. Meshana HaBriyos, they were Briyos, and then they were Nishtanu. That's the pshat why the Rambam paskins that a monkey could wash Natilas Yadayim for you. You know why? Because they have quasi-status of Adam. So you want to know, are monkeys people? The answer is, halachically, they have some ramifications, an unbelievable thing. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky writes, a monkey has some status of Adam, Koyach Gavra, they can wash Natilas Yadayim. So he says like this. He says, V'nei Rambam, Perek Vav Berachas, Mei Brachas Halachik Kasav Shekayf Kashan Natilas Yadayim, V'harai V'tam Alav Dabinon Koyach Gavra. So look in the Kesef Mishnah. Kesef Mishnah is Mesupik, maybe only the monkey and not other Balei Chayim. And the Migdal Ois brings rayas that a monkey has a dinner could accomplish a Maisa. But we don't find that elephants were changed into people. But if you see, in other words, what Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky is saying is that even if you want to say that monkeys were turned into people, as the Gemara in Sanhedrin says, but the Migdal Ois applies it, that people were turned to monkeys, but the Migdal Ois applies it to elephants as well. We don't find anywhere that people were turned into elephants, but that could be the intention of our Gemara, of Meshana HaBriyos. In other words, the Gemara that says when you see an elephant, you make Meshana HaBriyos, the Gemara is adding that not only were the Dar Haflaga turned into monkeys, but the fact that you make Meshana HaBriyos on an elephant means they were also turned into elephants. Also, a kipuf as well were people and they were turned into kipufs.
It's a keeper.
That's a good question.
Capuchin monkey.
It's a what?
A long-tailed ape.
A capuchin monkey?
The Jasper says a long-tailed ape, or possibly a form of an owl.
Instead of
A
a
cappuccino one?
Yeah.
cappuccino. Lots of Starbucks.
So this is like the theory.
Small monkey.
This is the theory of Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky that the Gemara in Sanhedrin says the Dar Haflaga were turned into monkeys. The Gemara in Brachas says you make Meshana HaBriyos. Maybe the Meshana HaBriyos means that they were changed, and then what the Gemara would be saying is that not only were the Dar Haflaga turned into monkeys, they're turned into elephants as well. By the way, you say, how could Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky say something like that? In Melech Shlomo, he says the exact same thing, that, again, he heard from this Makubal that we mentioned earlier, the Tirates, this Makubal that he quoted, Rabbeinu Meshulam, answered, the Vizman Dar Hamabel Nifra HaKadosh Baruch Hu Minu Hanoshim Shehafchan L'Koifim Upilim V'hainu Shehakoif Doimeh La'Adam Upil Nami Mevin Lashon Rei Adam. Wow. Now, amazingly, Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky is theorizing that the Dar Haflaga were turned not only into monkeys, they were turned into elephants as well. In the Seder Hadoros of Rabbi Chiel Halperin, me neither. The Seder of Rabbi Chiel Halperin, he brings down, I guess he has a tradition, that in fact the Dar Haflaga were turned into monkeys and elephants. So that would fit very well into Rabbi Yaakov's theory. Look over here. He says, V'hika Hashem es shloishes hachalakim. God smote them. Asher amru na'ala Hashemayim v'navel elkeinu. They became kufim and Shinhavim. Rabbi said, when did we have the word Shinhavim?
Wednesday.
On Wednesday, the Malbim, right? The Malbim said, he talked about the fossils of the Shinhavim. We didn't know what Shinhavim were. But, if you look in Divrei Hayamim, it says like this. Look at number 20. Ki aniyos hamelech holchos Tarshish. The boats of the king are going to Tarshish. Im avdei churam. Achas l'sholosh shonim. Tavoyno aniyos Tarshish. Noisez zav v'chesef. Shenhabim v'koifim. What are Shenhabim? Shein peel. It means two things. The ivory of the elephant. Upiel atzmai. And the elephant itself. The word Shenhavim are elephants. So, in fact, that which Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky theorizes, that the TorahAnytime were turned into a bunch of elephants, Rabbi Sai, the Seder HaDor says explicitly that, in fact, they were turned into monkeys and elephants. I just bring some more support. There's a Yalkut Shimoni that says, Arba dvaram nishtanu b'mei enosh. What does that say? Kain, Sheis, Haharim, Nasu, Tarashim. B'mei enosh ben Sheis. Haharim, Nasu, Tarashim, the mountains turned into rocky terrain. V'yischal hameis marchish. V'nasu pneim kekufin. People start to look like monkeys. So Rabbi say, so was that the Dar Haflaga? Was that the Dar Enosh? It's apparently as man declined, Asuchal Likros B'Shem Hashem. That was a decline. Huchal, it became Chulen, right? By the way, there's a Medrash Agada also. He says, when God scattered them, whoever fell into the forest turned into monkeys. It's a Medrash Agada. So Rabbi say, here we have the tradition of Chazal, of not that mankind comes from monkeys, but rather monkeys come from men. Comes the Munkatcher in the Sefer Divrei Torah. And there is a Yiddish expression that Yiddish Kinder have. When they go to the zoo, they say the following. Hine Yadua, says the Munkatcher, the Minchas Alozar, Maimer Ha'olam, Sichas Hayoladim Midar Ladar. It's a tradition of children. Ki yoimru ala koifim. They say about monkeys. How do you say monkeys in Yiddish?
Affen.
Affen, exactly. Ki hema farshalatana mention. Farsheltana.
Cursed.
Farsheltana.
Yeah.
Yeah, you heard that?
The word to curse is Shelton?
Yeah.
Farshaltan?
Yeah, for Shelton.
For Shelton, yeah.
Farshaltana mention. B'nei Adam arurim ratzalaymar. So the shadow is, why do kids call monkeys Farshaltana mention? Ratzalaymar hainu shoyu me'oz b'nei Adam. They used to be men. B'neskalach ach min hashamayim. V'lchor kol shmei yitzchak lahem. It sounds like a joke. Demi lo yada. V'gam divrei Chazal kama dehema nivru k'ma shari achayis yar. Where don't Chazal say they're created like all the other animals? Ach sheyesh lahem tzuras adam. Ach mekubal b'yadeinu. We have a tradition. Masar me'avasin ki kol ma sheyoimru giladim v'mnei. So whatever Yiddish Kindlach say, maimer ha'olam ba hu yesh by mamish. Whatever Yiddish Kindlach say, there must be something to it. K'may da'amru b'shas. How you knew da'amri yinchi? V'gam how k'mekubal b'yadeinu yatzadikim ki soydis rabbis muzim b'had tuva ganez v'gavanim ki ein sham davar reik ba'olam. This expression of the Yiddish Kindlach, Farshaltin a mention, is a Gemara. Shezel haya einish la'anshe dar haflaga lechalek mehem oisam shamru nalam anasim alchama. They became monkeys. Harei mefurish b'Chazal b'Gemara. They became kufin. Ken hanerladim a kufin ha'ela. All the descendants of the kufin, they're all anshe dar haflaga, and they're in Iskalalu. And that's pshat in the statement and the expression of these Yiddish Kindlach. Okay, by the way, maybe we need to remind the Olam that phone should be off. If somebody rings you, then you don't answer it. Because even if you talk under the table, just it's recorded for all time. Then it's going to go on TorahAnytime, and then it's going to be on MP3, and then people, right? There he is. They're going to hear what you said to the... Okay. Anyway, the Kav HaYashar brings out, now it comes out like this. Yeah? The Kav HaYashar says, Rav Miller used to say before the Shiur, anybody who has to cough or sneeze, please do so now. before the shiur begins. Okay. Anyway, the Kav HaYashar says like this. So it should come out, Rabbi Isai.
Who wrote the Kav HaYashar?
Shmuel Kadenover. Okay. The Kav HaYashar says like this. Kav HaYashar says, then l'chayra you shouldn't be allowed to look at monkeys. Why? Because the Gemara says asar lehistakel b'fnei rasha. And what's a monkey? A monkey is basically these guys engineered the Dar Haflaga. How are you allowed to look at these monkeys?
Well, they're descendants of the Rishayim. They're not necessarily Rishayim themselves.
So Yitaka says you're not allowed to stare at them. He says you look at them quickly, you make the bracha, and finished. But you can't be mistakel b'fanav. In fact, look at the Kav HaYashar. He says, "Av sheyesh l'adam rishus liros brias mashunos." You're allowed to look at them, and that's why Chazal made a bracha. Mikomakom lo yasbi einoi b'staklos. Don't get too caught up in them. You can look at them derech harai. Why? Ki ma'or ha'inayim doimim ba'arba gavanim. The light of the eye is similar to 4 colors, which correspond to Yud Kei Vav Kei. And if you see brios tameos, it's mamshech ruach hatama on you. So interesting, there's an expression, there's a conversation that Reb Shlomo Halberstam of Bobov had with his grandfather, the Divrei Chaim. That he said, that he said over a story. The Reb Shlomo Halberstam said over a story about his grandfather Divrei Chaim. So once the Divrei Chaim went to the zoo in Wien, and he made the bracha Mashana Habrios. And the Bobov a Rebbe said not to make the bracha on the kaif. Why? Because since kaifim come from Rishayim, you're not allowed to gaze at them. Okay, so the Bobov said don't make the bracha Mashana Habrios on the kaif. Then one time he said over when he was a kid he went to the zoo, and his father told him not to stare at the kaif. Now it comes out that the Divrei Chaim held that only the monkeys are the Rishon of the Dar Haflaga, but not the elephants, which is mashma in the Gemara. But as we said earlier, others disagree and say they became elephants as well. Rabbi says, so this is all interesting, and this maybe would explain why, of all the animals, the only animal other than man that has a menstrual cycle is a monkey. The exact opposite of Darwin's. Darwin claims he came from a monkey, which could be he was also at the Dar Haflaga. I don't know, I wasn't there. But according to our tradition, it's just the opposite. They evolved from us, but they didn't evolve. God punished them, and they became monkeys. But they retained certain features of man. What are they? Menstrual cycle, das. And it's interesting, they could actually perform the Tilas Yadayim for us. So I wonder if somehow Mida Keneged Mida, they were punished. They made the Dar Haflaga, they made the Migdal Bavel. So now Mida Keneged Mida, their punishment is they have to wash their hands for Natilas Yadayim. But I'll let you think about that one.
What about the other humans that we spoke about? Remember?
What about? That's certainly Mashana Brios. That's simple that you're allowed to, because they're different than human beings. But why would the halacha say only monkeys and elephants to make Mashana Brios? They're not like human beings. So what we're learning is, they were also changed from human beings. But all the other, let's say, skin colors are sort of slight variances of Adam. Okay. Rabbi said what we learned from here is a tremendous musar. What's the musar? First of all, don't build towers to try to climb up and fight against Hashem. Bad things will happen. But besides that, we learned something else that's very important. Points out the Sefer Shevet HaMusar. Who's the Shevet Musar? Shevet Musar was Rabbi Yoel Cohen. In fact, somehow my wife is related to Rabbi Yoel Cohen. On the gravestones of her great grandparents, it says Geza mi Shevet Musar. Okay, that being the case, the Shem says like this: Yismach hamakayim v'ha'oisa hamitzvos kamoi shalo rav v'asiyasam. You should rejoice in performing mitzvos like you acquired great spoils. Demas char gadol yesh tachas ha'efshar ki im shazocha shenasa mitzvah yadai. First of all, you're emulating Hashem. Since I wrote earlier that man is similar to God, there is a semblance of comparison. Let me tell you about the concept of man's comparison to God, and that is why did God create a monkey? Who has some similarity to man. A monkey, all a monkey wants to do is copy man. The monkey sees a person does something, he also does it. Why would God make such a creature if not that we should learn from it? Right? We know we learned sneas from a gamel and honesty from a nomel. What lesson do we learn from a monkey? A monkey sees itself similar to man. He sees he has ears like a man. Fingers. The monkey recognizes, hey, wait a second. I look like a man. So if I look like a man, I should act like a human being.
Well, the vast majority of monkeys in the world has never seen a man. All the ones that see people are...
But somehow instinctively when they do see a man, there's something, they're drawn to behave like man. That's how they spend their life. Even though it says a Shevet Musar, they understand they'll never be a man. They're never going to put on a suit and go to Wall Street. But maybe after something I'll be able to be accomplished.
Congress.
Right? Yeah, at least I could become a politician.
Yeah. I mean, there's an expression, not to monkey around. What does that mean?
That means don't be involved. Don't make a tower, maybe. Don't be involved in the Haflaga. Yeah? Monkey business, right?
Yeah, wait, what does that mean?
I'll leave it to your imagination. Kal v'chomer, ben benoisho kal v'chomer. If a monkey is makir now, according to what we learned, there's a deeper reason why the monkey always wants to mimic man. It's a tsar that the monkey has that it has been downgraded. But kal v'chomer, ben benoisho kal v'chomer, man, that it has a semblance of divinity and godliness, that we should try with all of our energy to spend our days and nights to emulate Hashem as much as possible. Try to mimic Hashem. Mahu chanon afato chanon. Mahu racham afato racham. Mahu tzadik afato tzadik. Ulekayim hamitzvos, like Hashem is mekayim them. Like Hashem says, Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, Ani eini kabasar v'dam. Basar v'dam is goyzer and he can't do it. I am mekayim all my mitzvahs tchila. Just like God is goyim chasadim, so too we should be. Then that's the first limit. In other words, if you see a monkey, since he realizes he has human features, he tries to act like a human. A man should realize he's created with someone like him. He should use that to try to emulate our Creator. Then the Shevet Musar says like this: V'eich la'yilmod min ha'koif l'hoitzi kol zmanoi l'rois kol mashu k'viyachol oisav l'asas kamayo l'hidamis lo kiven shamaysa poyo lios magia l'madregasai. What does that mean? How can we not learn from a monkey? To spend all one's time to see what he does and to act like him. Meaning, if a monkey tries to do whatever he can to mimic man, even though he sees he'll never get there, so a person, he should try to act like the Ribbon Shalom, he eventually can get to very high levels of his damos to Hashem. And therefore one should learn from the monkey and not waste his time. But there's another Musar Haskell to learn from the monkey. So if they ask you, when you come home today, you ask, what do you learn? We learn to try to be like a monkey. Here's another lesson from a monkey. There were 3 groups. And the group that wanted to go up to Shamayim and live there, they became monkeys. Actually, the Gemara said a little bit differently. The Gemara said what? The ones that wanted to go to war, good. They wanted to become monkeys. Venera, that since monkeys were first men, That's why they have some human characteristics, and whatever they see people do, they act like that. Why? Because they want to go back to their inherent nature. And they can't. And therefore, they're constantly in agony to try to revert back to their previous form. And therefore, says the Sheva Musar, a person has to be concerned and be careful. Don't sin. Because if you sin, then there are repercussions. And the repercussions are not temporary. The repercussions could be forever and ever. And a person could be in a matzav where he will eternally regret what they did. Nebuch, a person when they die, they can end up in Gehenna and look like the bottom of a cholent pot. And therefore, the people will say, you look like a monkey. And when you're up there, you'll wish you got out of there. Therefore, v'yata ben adam. Kivan she'einecha royos. Since you see the kaif, why don't you take musar from the kaif? That a person has to say to themselves, if this kaif always is trying to revert back to life, Chadei Shemenu Kekedem. What does the monkey say? He says, Hashivenu Hashem Eilecha v'nashuva Chadei Shemenu Kekedem. Before I was a monkey. That's the remez of, the musar of the monkey. Rabbi said one last concept. We talked about elephants, we talked about monkeys. Let's talk about the bears. Not from Chicago. Let's talk about the bears of the forest.
The bear, right?
No. Let's talk about the bear. If you look in Tanakh, how many times is bear mentioned?
Zero.
In Chumash, in Chumash. In Chumash. Games Hari, Games Hadoiv, Hika Avdecha, right? It's not mentioned in Chumash. Says the Roy Keach. What does it mean, Noisein Levheim Alachma? A doiv, which is a bear, where does he eat from? A bear can't always get food. He actually sucks out his fingernails. He sucks some sweetness out of his fingernails. Why? Because bears can't run that fast, like other animals. So sometimes a bear will see a rabbit or something in the forest, or a deer, he can't grab a hold of it. And he doesn't have what to eat. He's going to die in starvation. So Hashem gives him parnasa from his fingernails. That's why the gematria of lebehima lachma is be'etzba. Says the Roikeach, not only were the dar haflaga turned into monkeys and maybe elephants, they were also turned into bears. V'hadoiv haya adam mimei dar haflaga, and therefore it hates bnei adam. There's no animal that hates human beings like bears, and that's why it has a very grisly voice, because very similar to a man.
Yeah, most bears are afraid of humans.
And that's why the hair, this is good to know, the hair in a bear's ear is good to put in a kameah. So if you need a good kameah, just pluck out a hair, but I would just advise that you be wearing a very good kameah while you're plucking the hair out of its ear. It's an amulet.
Wait till the bear is hibernating, sleeping.
Okay, so Rabbi Sai, this is a mamish adavar pella, but you see, the lima that I take out of this is that I think when people go to the zoo, so they see the ape and the monkey, they say, oh, I'm so similar to man. There must be evolution. Yeah, you're right, there must be. But it's the exact opposite of what the false traditions of the scientists. And that is our Messiah from Sinai, is that the Dar HaFlaga were turned into kupim, were turned into monkeys. And that's one of the halachic reasons why we make Meshane Habriyos. They were Bnei Adam that were Nishtane to Kaifim. Rabbi, have a great Shabbos.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.